family.
Shalom.
We're going to be talking about arranged marriages and how that can fit into our families as, especially as parents. That's something that we don't have a problem with, and we've even talked to our children about it. In this day and time, I think it's very important that parents do take a role in who their children are married to. I think it's very important because we're dealing with a whole lot of different issues and situations and spirits and things. And so, when you have children and you've invested a lot of time into raising them right and teaching them certain things, you want to make sure that they're going to pair up with the right person. And that's something we kind of wanted to talk about it because we have children that are approaching that age. And so, as a mom, it's very important to me that my daughters end up with the right young man as far as a husband. And even for my sons, we want our sons to marry beautiful daughters of Zion, you see.
That's right. I had a friend of mine. I grew up with this friend of mine, and he has 3 sons and a daughter, And it's kind of funny that when they said this to us, they said, "Man, we hope that maybe one day." And this was a long time ago when they said this.
When they were very little.
Yeah, when the kids were real little, And so when they said, it'd be nice if our kids could marry your kids. And we were like, wow, that would be neat, because it would be nice because we know that you all are raising your kids in the truth and knowledge and in the ruach, and so are we also. And so we figured, wow, that would be a neat thing. Now, when we say arrange, we're not talking about son, you're gonna marry this person over here, and she's gonna marry this person. We're not talking about in that sense.
Right.
We're talking about actually. Meeting more families that are like-minded, and allowing our children to meet. And so if there's a spark or something,
that it will be a natural flow.
That's right.
You see, like there was I remember some time ago, I would say probably about a couple of years ago, there was a family who contacted us and said, "We're raising some really nice young men here. We see that you all have some really nice daughters. And so we think our families should meet." And so I remember I was saying, that is an awesome idea for parents to really be involved in that. Because again, if you've invested a lot of time into raising your children right, you don't want your children to end up in the wrong hands, especially daughters. Daughters are so important because there's a lot of abuse going on out here, you see, and you don't want your daughters to end up in a situation where they're going to be harmed or mistreated or abused or anything like that. So you definitely want to play an active role in making sure that they pair off with the right people. And again, we've talked to our children about this, and this is one reason why we desire to be closer to some of our Israelite brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
And in Christianity, they pair off pretty easily in Christianity, but we're not trying to go down that path, you see.
Right.
I know we said in one video that we would rather that our daughters marry some Christians than to marry some of these brute beasts that are among the Israelites.
Right.
We were just really kidding in a sense.
Yeah, we just talking,
but not really.
We just kind of letting you know how we feel about these brute beatish type brothers we see out here.
Right.
Right.
I couldn't imagine my daughters ended up married to one of these brothers on the streets that be talking about raping and doing all of this other stuff and calling black women out their names. I couldn't imagine my daughters.
Some guy that want to have 8, 9 wives and ain't taking care of none. We ain't trying to bring our daughters into nothing like that.
I couldn't imagine something like that. I mean, I can see myself intervening big time if somebody wanted to try to mess over my children. Any mother would be that way,
Right.
Any mother, because you don't want to see your children hurt in any way. And so we're preparing our daughters and our sons to be the best that they can be. And it takes work, okay?
That's right.
We don't want our daughters to just be good in the kitchen, cooking and all of that kind of stuff and cleaning. We're preparing our daughters also to have businesses and things of that nature. We have these little sessions sometimes where we'll sit and talk to them, and we'll say, Sophia, what would you do if your husband came home one day and told you that he lost his job? How would that make you feel? And then they would give us their answer. Then we would say, well, what would you do in that situation? And they would give us their answer. And so basically, what we've told them, what we've explained to them, is say, this is why mommy and daddy are teaching you how to do what we do. We teach them all the skills that we have, which we were talking to a brother not long ago, that a lot of the things that my son is learning here at home, people are paying thousands of dollars to go to college for. You see, we're teaching them a lot of different skills and different trades, and trying to understand how to do things, how to be self-sufficient. You see, all of these things so that our daughters can contribute. Now, when we say contribute, we don't mean some brother sitting up all day reading the Bible while my daughter's doing all the work and cooking and cleaning and making the money. He reading his Bible and praying, and she got her hand all the money. We ain't talking about nothing like that. We're talking about teaching them how to contribute to the family unit, working together, you know, with very similar to what we do.
That's right.
Me and my husband, we are a team. We work together on just about everything. We've talked to, you know, before in one video where my husband was going somewhere hanging drywall, I would be right there with him, you see.
That's right.
I mean, I won't get up on a roof or anything like that, but as much as you can, I think it's important that our girls know how to do things, how to earn money too, how to take care of themselves, not so that they can take care of their husband, because it's that man's job. And we want our daughters to make sure when you start courting with someone, if he starts sounding like one of those brothers who just want to sit back and chill and kick his feet up while you work, you let us know, and you're going to be out of there real fast before you even say I do.
Yeah, that's right.
Before they say I do. Of course, we can't interfere once they're married, so we're going to tell them what to do before they say I do.
You got to be hard-working brothers, you know. Mm-hmm. And so that's the one thing, you know, I'm raising my son to be a hard worker. You know, we're teaching him all the skills and everything. He's always out there chopping wood. He's always out there doing this and doing that, working in the garden, tilling the ground, and just doing all kinds of stuff. So we're really working with him and molding him into being a good, strong son. And same with our daughters. We're raising them to be daughters that could do business, they could do all kinds of things. If they need to get out in the garden, they'll be able to do that too. Mm-hmm. You know, we're raising our kids to be that way. And so we're looking for like-minded people who have kids that are like the same type of families that are interested in becoming close, as a matter of fact, and where we can communicate, and where our kids can communicate with their kids, and you know, and that's what we mean by arranged marriages.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we just basically mean creating the proper environment for them to get a chance to know each other and understand and see if there's even a liking there. Because, of course, you can't just marry someone if you don't really per se like them, although that did happen back in the day. Yeah. In all fairness to the children, you know, I think they should marry someone that they like and they are at least compatible with, you see. And that's the only way to determine that is to be able to be around people who have that same desire, that same liking, that same upbringing, you see.
That's right. Because
it's just not going to work if you have someone who is raised just totally contrary to how you're living, and you're trying to pair a person off. Is going to just create friction and problems. And you see all of the divorce that we see out here. It's all kinds of divorce for various reasons and problems because people didn't sit down beforehand to even determine if this was a true match, you see. Everybody is just getting married on a whim now. You have people marrying for the wrong reasons, people marrying for looks, money, sexual desires. I mean, all kinds of reasons why. But the scripture says, whom Yah have joined together, let no man put asunder. And so we're just thinking that it's a good thing for us to start talking about as Israelite parents. Should we encourage our children to meet other families and possibly arrange marriages through creating the proper environment? Not through saying, this is the one you're going to marry over here, or this is your husband over here, or this is your wife. We can't do that. We don't want to do that. We just want to create the proper environment. So we hope that this message is well received. Yeah.
Can you imagine this for a minute? Just think about this for a minute. Mm-hmm. Now, I know that sometimes we're all so far apart. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But imagine if we come together and we meet, like when we had this past baptism thing that we did for Sukkot. Okay, can you imagine when the families meet and there are other children that's there? We have these events.
Other young adults.
Other young adults. That's right. That's there, and they meet and they get to, you know what I mean, get to know each other and everything. Well, that could be a good setting, especially when you're dealing with people that are all like-minded. You know what I'm saying? Because let's just face it, okay? If I don't go out, if me and my wife don't go out and meet anyone, and we just continue to do what we do, but we don't meet anyone, who are our kids going to marry? These people out there in the streets? The people in your town that don't know our Elohim?
Right.
You know, they don't worship Yah. They don't know his name. They don't know where the people. Is that who they going to get out here and be with?
Yeah, because we talked before about our son. There's a number of young ladies in the community here who have said, well, I would date him if he had this and he had that and that. You know what I'm saying? And we're not interested in our son marrying or dating someone or courting someone who's so stuck on what he has, whether he has a diamond earring or a car or a certain pair of shoes. I'm not interested in my son marrying a young woman like that because her mind is in the wrong place. And I'm not interested in my daughters marrying, we talked about some of the children who came here to school. You know, one young man, even though he was very young, his mind was already in the gutter, you see. So I'm not interested in my daughters marrying just anyone. I want to have a part in being. I want us to play a very important role in making sure that they find the right person. Okay, that's what I was trying to say. I want to make sure that they find the right person, so we get a chance to meet this person before they sit down and say, "Oh, I'm getting married, Mom. I'm getting married, Dad." You know,
that's right.
To not be able to meet the person and give your input. I mean, back in the day, that's not how it was done. Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, that is not how it was done.
That's right.
They had an opportunity to put their blessing on it first, you see. So that's what we want to do.
Yeah, and just think again what I'm saying, right? If you're not going out here and meeting people for your kids or whatever, and you just letting your kid go, they're going to end up with anything.
They're going to bring something back
They're going to bring a demon home, and you know they are, you know. They're going to be calling you crying about this, crying about that. And so we're basically trying to say, hey, we as parents, okay, any of you out there that are parents need to meet other families that are like-minded.
Right,
okay?
Because even, think about your children who go off to college.
Yeah.
Sometimes our children go off to college and they get caught up with some people that they should not be caught up with.
The devil.
They come home and they get trapped in situations that are very difficult. You know, we've heard it just too many times where this does happen.
Yeah.
And I remember my daughter, she was telling us about a situation with a good friend of hers where it was a good friend of her and another friend. They had a mutual friend. And she sent us some pictures. She said, "Mommy, look at him. He's married to this young woman and he is not happy." And I'm going to just give you all some of the details. I'm going to give you some of the details. He was a very handsome young Hebrew male, okay? And he went off and he ended up getting married to someone who looked like they came from the hills of Virginia, okay? And I'm trying my best not to sound insulting, but this is what our young men are getting caught up in, and this is wrong. The Most High don't like this. So I'm going to keep it real right here real quick, okay? But he went off, and the young lady was kind of looked like a hillbilly, okay? She was overweight, and the look on his face was like
the whole time looked like he was in a trance.
He looked like he was in a trance, and she was extremely overweight, this young woman. And we're talking about a very handsome young man who was he looked like he was about 18 or 19. My daughter was 18 or 19 at the time, so they were all mutual friends. And so she said, "Mommy, he doesn't look happy." And apparently he had gotten the chick pregnant, so he was stuck, and so he ended up marrying her. And on the wedding pictures, he was surrounded, it was none of his family there. He was surrounded by her family. And they looked like rednecks, okay? They did. And he was standing there like, on his wedding picture, he was not smiling. And I said, And I know some of you are probably going to be offended by me saying this, but it's in the Word. We ain't supposed to be doing this. And so this young man got caught up. He probably messing around with her. She ended up getting pregnant, and now he's stuck. Now, my daughter did call me. This was like 4 years ago. She did recently call me. She said, Mom, he had to get a divorce. He ended up getting a divorce, and she didn't go into the details of why, but he stuck himself and trapped himself in that family for that 4 years, and because they had the child together, he's stuck for the rest of his life. You see, because he made that one error or that one mistake, that one misjudgment. Okay, he made that one misjudgment, and so now he's stuck. And so this is why it's very important that we teach our children, okay, when you go off to college, you got to put it in their heads. If they are going to go off to college, put it in their minds what the law of the Most High says and what they should do, how not to fall into these traps and snares, because guess what? They out there.
Yeah.
They are out there. Think about how you're trying to catch an animal in the woods, and they have all these traps laid around trying to catch a bear or trying to catch a rabbit or trying to catch something like that. All of these traps and snares are laid out there, especially for our young Hebrew males. And so you got to prepare your children. If they're going to go to college or what have you before they get married, you better make sure that they understand what is required of them by Torah, because they will get trapped and snared by something that will have them stuck the rest of their lives.
What's amazing is, I'm going to say this, I'm dropping this in there, okay? Us fathers, we're supposed to be raising our young men to be virgins, not players, until they're married.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? Okay? But because a lot of us, when we were young, grew up playing the field and all of that, and then we get older, and then we have a boy, and you think there's nothing wrong with your son going out there being a whoremonger. Your son is not supposed to be a whoremonger, okay? Your son is supposed to grow up and be a blessed man of our Father Yah. And basically what I'm saying is, we're supposed to be raising our young men like this, We're supposed to be raising them like this. So, you raising a young man, you sending him off to college, and he already got out here and sold his wild oats. Is that what they sow nowadays?
I think that's what they call it.
He out there sowing his wild oats and everything, and then you gonna send him off to college. What you gonna think he gonna do in college? He gonna do some more sowing, right? And pretty soon he gonna get a plant, right? That's how it go. Yeah, a baby, exactly. So basically, we're supposed to be raising our young men that way, okay? So, when you raise a young man differently, this is why they get married, and then they're out there. He's gonna be out there cheating or whatever. You know what I mean? Because he didn't got bit by the bug of lust. You see, and so I don't want my daughters marrying young men that done got bit by the bug of lust, and now they trying to control it their whole life while they married. You get what I'm saying? So we're raising our son different, and we look for like-minded people that are raising their children, their young men, the same way, basically.
Because we have some very beautiful daughters.
That's right.
And they're very sweet. And we're not going to allow nobody to mess over these beautiful girls, because they have some beautiful hearts.
That's right.
And so we want the best for them. And I'm sure you all want the best for your children as well.
That's
and
right.
So we thank y'all for those who did reach out to us. Like we said, a family a few years ago reached out to us, and
couple of families, actually.
Yes, and I was going to mention our friends back in Michigan, whom we've known for a long time, and we used to talk about that, because it's important to us and to them that our children marry the right people.
That's right. Well, on that note, we're going to say
Shalom.
Shalom.